Okay, welcome National Chess Players. It's your operator Colin. We got a game to look at today, and this is a real interesting one. Girls and guys, Najdorf Sicilian. This opening has been played thousands of times according to the online databases. For one, Garry Kasparov faced this against Anatoly Karpov in 1985 for the World Championship match of chess. And without too much introduction, guys, let's get into this. It is such an inspiring game for young people, young chess players. We're going to go over a couple inaccuracies played by both sides in this game. FIDE Online Arena 2021. I had the black pieces and my opponent had the white pieces from Russia, about 1800. Let's go for, that's what he was rated online. Knight f3, d6, Kasparov's defense to the Sicilian. d4, c takes d4, knight d4, knight c6, and knight c3, a6. Got you. It's a Najdorf Sicilian, guys. Welcome to the Najdorf. Here we go. This is seen a lot in blitz chess, classical chess. Typically, white has an edge here, but if black continues with the sharpness and the tactical ability and position, and in order to gain positional initiative, it works. I had some good tactics in this game that I want to show with you guys. Virgin Islands Chess, National Chess, Virgin Islands Youth Expansion Project. Here we go, guys. Knight f6, thank you for participating. Bishop to e3, move 7. Bishop to d7. Queen d2, and queen to d2 and e5 are already inaccuracies in this opening. However, we're going to continue. We're not going to let inaccuracies stop. We're just going to play chess and see who comes out best. So in this position, knight to b3 was played by my opponent, and we're looking at the game from white's perspective. And having gone now for bishop to e6, putting pressure now on that knight, and also expanding on the queen side, g4 is not a recommended move in this position. Sorry, we need to find a better move for white. a3 or h3 are options, and also long castles, but instead g4. d5 now fighting for this center. E captures on d5, not worrying about what's happening on the king side, and now rook castle queen side by my opponent. Rook castle queen side is an aggressive attempt, but still not accurate with g4. So my opponent playing a tough game here in the Najdorf, but the moves look better that he's playing than what they really are, and we'll explain what that means in just a moment. Again, the moves look better, the pieces look like they're on better squares than they really are. Trying to throw me off here with this kingside pawn push, but the battle is really for the queen side. So first, knight captures on e3, claiming the dark squared bishop. Now the bishop pair. Queen goes to c7 as the queen was under attack from the rook on d1, obviously, if we're paying attention. Now bishop to d3 now and knight to b4. Just going all in on the queen side, saying I want all the bishops. I know that I'm eventually going to lose the e-pawn here after f4, even with f6, because white can swing the h-rook over to e1 as it does and just claim that weakened e-pawn that I made for myself. But let's go a little deeper now. Let's not just play surface chess, we want to play depth chess. We want to see how much depth nodes we have. So after knight d3, rook recaptures, and f6, f4 is promised. This is what we just talked about. And bishop to c4 now is a good tactic now, because saying that, well, your rook is misplaced on d3 after recapturing, and the knight is also going to be subject to a loss here. So after rook to d2, bishop captures, a captures b3, and now bishop to c5. The best move, according to the engine here, is bishop to c5, undoubtedly. Thick, dark green square means best move. Okay, so my opponent played the best move, which is just queen to e4. Now putting pressure on the b7 pawn if the queen ever decides to move from the 7th rank. So this gives me now a chance to castle, and in this position my opponent has double pawns on the b file. He's going to win a pawn. He's going to win the e-pawn here. But black still looks better, the dark squared bishop, as I've talked about in a couple other of my videos, guys. Dark squared bishops in middle game theory like this are actually probably like worth 4 points in terms of chess material value, and knights are these queenside knights especially, like the c3 knight, has no real influence in the game here. White does have better rooks for the time being. Now let's continue. Rook fe8, swinging the rook, now saying, well, you can't capture as the rook is in progress. So just pushing my opponent now, playing the best moves. Yes, pushing e6. And now rook from a to d8. So offering an exchange, but also looking for positional initiative, as there's really not much else to do, aside from the double pawns here on the b file. My opponent decides to capture the rook, and now guys, without looking at the algebraic notation, find the best move for black. Well, you're supposed to capture here with the queen, not with the rook. And anyways, this gives up the b7 pawn. Yes, so white is gaining more material as it does now. White is up 2 pawns and has a passer e-pawn here. So it appears on the surface that white looks a lot better. However, as the game continues, I want you guys to build your chess understanding. Chess is very hard to understand, especially when we see things for what they are on the board. The key is to build your depth. In other words, you need to build your knowledge of having an edge over your opponent by being able to understand and grasp advanced concepts of chess when we get further in our chess careers. So very important here, guys and girls. Okay. So let's see what else happened here. Now rook to e7. Now the queen is under attack, and let's pay attention now. After queen captures on a6, which I believe was a mistake in this position, rook a7 is coming. That is undoubtedly the best move in the position. Now the queen is under attack and has to go back in retreat to a light square in this position. So now, having done so, I want you guys to become chess players now and find the best approach now for black. Black has tactics now. Black has counterplay, and basically saying, well, you've captured all my queenside pawns, but now I'm getting a chance to, here it comes, yes, play rook a1, and that's coming with check, and the forcing your opponent to drop back their only other minor piece in the game, and that is knight to b1. Yes, the only move, as we see that the queen was occupying the d file. So if white wants to continue in this game, knight to b1 was the only response. Thank you, guys. And bishop to e7 now. Bishop to e7 is the best response from black now, not allowing the process of the e6 pawn to continue traveling up the chessboard. And now rook to d1, yes, played by my opponent, attacking my queen. And now, guys, we need to punish white in this position for not having enough strategy. Maybe going for a tactic now, something. But be chess players now, guys, and think logically when it comes to these move orders now. And I want you guys to come up with something that's actually going to have black go up a minor piece in exchange for 3 pawns. And I want you guys to do that now. Pause the video, take some time to yourself, maybe set this up over the board at your own leisure at your home. Maybe set this up over the chessboard and pause the video and now find how to play for black. Okay, well, what did you find, guys? Rook captures on b1, that is correct. And now if you're a chess player, you notice that the king has nowhere to go. It is a forced capture here. Again, the d lane is occupied. And after king recaptures now, guys, yes, there is an open rook here for the capture. And queen into d1, that comes with check now. Queen into d1 comes with check, so king is forced to move now. And notice, guys, how in the past maybe 10 moves or so, I have forced my opponent to make moves. And you got to learn how to do that, guys. You got to learn how to force your opponents to make moves based on your better strategy, right? You have a better plan. You have more depth. You spot more tactics. You can smell positional initiative, for lack of a better word. You have a better connection with the chessboard. You know what it takes to put your pieces on better squares and better move orders and better variations. So let's continue now. Yes, king a2 was played. And now dropping the queen all the way back to d8, as the bishop and queen now are going to be long-range pieces for the rest of this game. However, this game is about to terminate very shortly. And now we're almost 10 minutes into the virtual analysis, guys. Congratulations for making it this far. Now, let's be chess players. Play this endgame now. Queen a8 check. King wants to go to b3 to get more play in the game, to emphasize maybe just the attack. But that's going to come with queen f3 check, and now my opponent from Russia, about 1800, showing that he's missing a couple things. You know, he's shown to be a little. I mean, at this point, my opponent still has over 15 minutes left on the clock. This was the 15. I'll let you guys know this particular matchup was a 15 plus 10 minutes. I have about less than 2 minutes on my clock. I'd spent so much time calculating and coming up with the best formula so that I would not allow my opponent to defeat me. Guys, you gotta tell yourself that I am not going to let my opponent win. You guys have to become better cognitive decision making and better strategists and better you know, numbers people, better mathematicians. It's a game of math, guys. That's all it is. It's just math. So c3 and queen to d1 check. It's all numbers, guys. It's all linear algebra. It's all logarithms. Let's go. So queen to d1 check, and in this position, my opponent played the move king to a2, offering a perpetual check. And you guys can look into this and find out more about perpetual check if you're a beginner or an intermediate level player. Find out about perpetual check, and that's how this game actually terminated. Threefold repetition by perpetual check. And king a2, as it does, terminates half and half. So as promised, I did not let my opponent beat me in this inaccurate Najdorf. And despite giving up all those pawns and having an extra bishop, not allowing this this pawn to march up the board and become a queen, I would not allow it. So this is how you guys become strong chess players. You know, you got to be able to, if this was like a tournament game and this was like your first game of the tournament, you would have to know how to draw, right? Because now your opponent who got white first, now he has to go play a black game and he actually has to win. So starting off with a draw, if this was the first game, now you might get black again in the next game, or white, and now you're in good shape. So again, when you have to draw and you don't allow your opponents to defeat you guys, you have to become strong chess players. You have to have a strong brain and a strong capacity to know what's best over the chessboard. Given the obscurity and the technical prowess of chess, how difficult chess is, you have to be able to grasp how hard it is. You know, just like acing a math exam, you know, in a calculus class or in science, chemistry, you know, you have to be able to grasp the obscurity of nature. So here we go, guys. This was a draw. And so in the event now, I wanted to show this next line, guys. If king to a3 in this position now, there is queen a1 check, and I want to show you guys an endgame that also results in a draw, amazingly enough. So in this position, let's go into it. We got about a couple minutes left here in the virtual analysis, guys. Brought to you by myself, Colin Heim, your Virgin Highlands operator, national operator. Let's go. So queen a1 blocking, right? This could be another continuation outside of termination previously. And after this, bishop to d6, and you have to play the move h3 because otherwise there's really no defense. In other words, you can't just start walking the king up the board. You have to play h3 because now the bishop is attacking, and that would give black a sincere, honest advantage on the king side as the pawns are better. So now king f8 walking up the board, and now white's walking up the board as well, right, guys? King b3, wow, king e7, and the e-pawn is now going to drop finally. King takes e6. And I just spent several hours with myself this morning, and I went over this endgame by myself, and I was able to find a drawing position. However, I was not able to really calculate a winning endgame. Feel free, everyone, if this is a good puzzle now. This is a really good test. With a bishop for 2 pawns, yes, black is +1 in terms of material value here. A black bishop, dark squared bishop for 2 white pawns. And maybe see if there's anything outside of drawing here. I could play a part 2 of this video and show the endgame. I think that's what I'm going to do, just to show you guys that maybe it's either drawing, winning, or losing for one side. Although I think all, like most outcomes, are just draws here. As you know, the reason why is because these b pawns are doubled. Right, it's suggesting that you just play b5 as a continuation. But then, you know, there's a couple things that happen here. You know, G5 is really good. G5 is something that you should consider here. And then, you know, you guys can figure this out on your own time. But you're supposed to push these pawns, right? And this is supposed to be better. But then all of a sudden, you know, you could push the F pawn here. The computer doesn't like it. But I want you guys to figure this out on your own. And thank you, everyone. Congratulations for making it this far. Virgin Islands Chess. Good luck in your chess games online and most of all over the board. Take care, and we will see everyone on the other side. And good luck with your progress.